And now there's a new potential layer to these Doge savings that's gaining steam across social media to give us some of that money back. It's called the Doge Dividend, and it was explained in a 4-page plan that was introduced this week on X.
For every $5, $1 goes back to the pockets of American taxpayers.
I don't like the approach, but I like the fact that something's being done. This is a Ponzi scheme.
No, Ukraine was a Ponzi scheme. The migrant funding was a Ponzi scheme. Hard-working Americans deserve a break.
James,
it was their money, Michael. It was their money.
Me.
At the end of the day, we've got to send the money back that is saved. There has been a fraud against the American people, the Green New scam, Ukraine, the migrant crisis. Doge dividend plan is bold, and Americans support it.
What's going on, guys? Another day, another CNN propaganda is getting absolutely annihilated because this propagandist Michael Smerconish over here, like this guy looks like one of the Rugrats, Tommy Pickles, all grown up. Shout out to the Rugrats if you know. Then you know, but he is having a complete meltdown here because this Doge dividend creator, James Fishback, is basically schooling him on the corruption and abuse in the federal government. These people are basically trying to pretend as though they're all for finding the waste, fraud, and abuse. And you've had literal decades of people saying that they were going to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse. Now that is actually happening. All of a sudden, they're crying about it. I guess I feel like finding this and it being exposed, CNN and all these fake news, legacy news platforms refuse to talk about it. Instead, they just keep talking about the way Donald Trump is doing everything. It's always Trump, 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 Trump. It's always something about Donald Trump, and it's like, it gets tiring. It gets nauseating. It's like, just talk about the actual issues that people care about. People don't care about how Trump is doing it. People don't care. People approve of Trump. His approval ratings are high. So why the hell we care about that? We want our money back. But without further ado, let's go ahead and react to this dummy having his meltdown, threatening to cut people's mics and everything.
The rubber meets the road. We are $36 trillion in debt. I don't know if you can see that, but that's $106,121 for every single person in America. So if Elon Musk is successful in saving us money from waste, fraud, and abuse. And by the way, James, I hope that he is. I don't like the approach, but I like the fact that something's being done. There is no money in the till. We owe $36 trillion. We owe $106,000 each. So whatever the savings ought to be, it's not like President Trump's doing us a favor by giving us 20%. Everything ought to go to the debt because the Peterson people say...
These fools trying to argue that when there's anything exposed, or instead of giving American people any money or any refund checks, it should all go to, you should all just pay down the debt. Don't give any to American citizens. This sounds like a stupid idea, not because we don't want to pay down debts, but because now you got propagandists arguing against giving people money. They didn't have any problem with funding illegal aliens and funding all these wars, you know, things that contribute toward the debt. The Inflation Creation Act, another thing that contributed massively toward the debt. But now all of a sudden, whoa, we can't give actual American citizens money. That money is for Ukraine and illegals. Are y'all nuts? Like, guys. Okay, let's actually get this video started. This is starting off very poorly for Smerconish here. This freaking weirdo with the freaking wide eyes. His eyes look like they're glasses already. He don't need glasses on his face.
By 2050, 50% of all revenue is going to go to satisfying interest on the debt. We should be paying the debt. Your response?
My response is this. We should be paying the debt, which is why the Doge dividend incentivizes every American to call out waste, fraud, and abuse, to lower the budget, to narrow the deficit, and to bring down the debt. Where was this emergency over the debt when we sent $350 billion to Ukraine to be wasted? Where was this emergency, Michael, on CNN when you guys were advocating $7,000 to migrants in Chicago? $7,000 a month per migrant, and now we want to spend $5,000 one time from President Trump to hardworking Americans. The migrants didn't deserve $7,000 a month. Hardworking Americans deserve a $5,000 check with President Trump's name on it. So enough with the double standard. Ukraine did not deserve $350 billion.
Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. This is Madoff-like. This is a Ponzi scheme.
No,
We
Ukraine
don't
was a
have-
Ponzi
we-
scheme. The
What?
migrant funding
Okay,
was a Ponzi
you're not
scheme.
gonna divert- no, you're not
Hardworking
gonna divert
Americans
me.
deserve a break. It
James,
was their money,
you're
Michael.
not gonna
It was
divert
their
me.
money.
James, give me a chance to speak. Theoretically, it's my program. We don't have the money, is what I'm trying.
Like, fool, you invited somebody on. You gonna invite people on and not let them talk when you're inviting a guest? Like, isn't that courteous? What's up with people not understanding how to treat guests? When you invite a guest, they get to speak. You're supposed to kind of cater to the guest. You're not supposed to disrespect their home, obviously. But you asked him a question, he responded, and this fool interrupted him anyway as soon as he was answering. So what are you talking about?
Trying to tell you, it's a Ponzi.
So we didn't have the money for
made-up,
Ukraine,
like,
right? We didn't have the money for Ukraine.
Am I gonna-
$350 billion.
I never do this. I don't want to be that guy. And do I have to silence your microphone so that I can respond to what you've said? Because there's so much fallacy.
Classic Democrat authoritarianism. Well, I guess you don't get to speak anymore. I guess I get to shut you down. We're going to remove you from social media. We're going to do everything. And we get to speak. You don't get to talk, even though we invite you on the program so that you can speak. Like, we already know what you think, propagandists. We want to hear what Fishback has to say. We don't give a damn what you got to say about it.
In what you've just offered.
Please go
I have
ahead
a
and
very
refute it.
simple I have a very simple premise here. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's a fraud. As much as I want to see us cut waste, fraud, and abuse, it is an absolute fraud to say to the American people, because of what Musk is doing, we have $5,000 to give each of you. The only way we have $5,000 is if we're borrowing it, because we're that far in debt. I'm trying to meet you halfway, which is simply to say,
God, this doesn't make any sense. We're literally cutting stuff that we're sending an endless amount of money to. Like, you know, these are like continuous things that we're sending money to. If we stop it, then you have money that was already going to go somewhere else, and instead we're giving it to American people. It's not new money. It's already money that's accounted for. And this fool is trying to say that it's some sort of fraud. These are the same people who criticize Doge for calling Social Security fraud. They keep saying there's no fraud. What fraud? No fraud. Like, no, these fools, every time they say there's no fraud, they just point Social Security. Social Security fraud. Hello, Social Security fraud. And nobody ever says anything about it. They just come back later the next day. Oh, there's no fraud. These people are liars.
what a good thing that finally we're going to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, albeit it shouldn't be in this haphazard fashion. But let's at least be honest with the American people that whatever we quote unquote save, we already owe. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then I'm going to say, see you later. Go ahead.
Michael, let me say this. We're fellow Americans. We care about this issue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on this program, but I got to speak truth here. At the end of the day, we've got to send the money back that is saved, just 20% of it. The other 80% goes down to paying the national debt and narrowing the deficit. To your point, yes, there has been a fraud against the American people, the Green New scam, Ukraine, the migrant crisis. Their taxpayer dollars were sent abroad, were not sent at home, were not spent in America, not on healthcare, not on education. That ends with President Trump's leadership today. Boom. He is delivering on his promise of major government reform, Michael. The Doge dividend plan is bold, and Americans support it.
All right, I'm calling time on all of that. I appreciate your being here. I think we've each, I hope, made our respective points.
What a freaking propagandist clown this was. It's unbelievable, guys. He pointed out funding for Ukraine, illegal migrants, the Inflation Creation Act, which is what they refer to as the Green New scam, the Green New Deal, right? Like, there's so much money that's been spent, but what it really is that they don't mind, since they're propagandists, they don't mind money being spent and thrown away on wokeness and Sesame Street in Afghanistan and drag shows in Ecuador. They don't care about they support this sort of woke garbage and nonsense. But when you want to give money to Americans, they're hollering and screaming. we don't have the money. We don't got the money. It's crazy. Shut up, man. Are you kidding me? Don't nobody want to hear that? Run me my coins. And here's the thing. This doesn't even contribute to inflation The same way I've heard people say, oh, look at the Republicans adding to inflation. I'm like, y'all are so freaking stupid. Inflation is primarily comes when you pull money out of your ass that doesn't exist, because you're literally, you go to the printer and you print out some new money. Here's new money. You add more money into the market that did not exist. Not take money that exists and put it somewhere else into the American people's hands. What's up with these people and not knowing economics? I'm so tired of it. Learn some damn economics. Got me sitting up here cussing on Sunday. I'm not going to hell for y'all. Shoot. But look, guys, this was crazy, but I love this interaction because it just made him look stupid. Who's going to argue against sending checks for pre-existing money? We got to pay down your debt. We're never paying that debt down anytime soon. Let the External Revenue Service take care of that. Not internal revenue, not taking money from America. These people love trying to bully and take money from Americans, but then you start talking about taking money from other countries, then all of a sudden they want to holler and scream, you can't do that, like you freaking P-words. Give me money, take their money. It's real simple, but let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching The Black Anomaly. Rising Channel. I'm out.
These Doge dividends will incentivize Americans to report waste, fraud, and abuse in their own community, because the more that Doge saves, the bigger their Doge dividend check will be. Remember, in economics, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome.